I'm Kaylei and I'm going to give a speech, and this is my audience.
Hi.
In recent years, society has been bombarded by countless acts of terrorism that are claimed to be in the name of Islam. With all of these tragedies, it's understandable that some have come to associate Islam with violence. However, in this day and age, it's important that we know the facts. As an American Muslim, I feel it is my responsibility to educate people on the true attitude of Muslims toward these horrifying actions. A recent study done by Gallup Polling Agency found that 93% of Muslims in the world, which is 1.3 billion Muslims, identify themselves as moderate and condemn the terrorist acts on 9/11. Islam is a peaceful religion and condemns all acts of terror. It views life as extremely sacred, and therefore tolerance is a very big practice. Unfortunately, violence is not always avoidable, and when this comes about, there are very strict rules that Muslims must follow when they go to battle. Today, I would like to inform you all about Islam's view on terrorism. First, we will discuss Islam's view on life and tolerance. And then I would like to speak with you about the ethics Muslims must follow when they do go to battle. To begin, I would like to share with you Islam's view on tolerance and life. Islam believes that all life is sacred and should be treated as such. The Quran says that God has bestowed honor upon all people, regardless of race, religion, or nationality. Islam puts as much value into you and myself as it does into all members of mankind. In fact, the Quran even goes so far as to say, if anyone kills just one person, it's as if he has killed all of mankind. And if anyone has saved the life of just one person, it's as if that person has saved the life of all mankind. The Quran prohibits murder with the exception of justice upon a murderer. But even this has to be done in the name of justice, and not anyone can decide this. The conclusion has to come by a competent court. The Quran says, "Take not life which God hath granted and made sacred, except by the way of justice and law. Thus doth he command you, so that ye may learn wisdom." This can't be decided by just anyone, as I said. A competent court must be involved. And since life is so sacred, tolerance is a very important practice that has taken place for centuries. For the 800 years that Muslims ruled Spain, they were never the only religion, nor did they try to be. Even today, in many Muslim countries, non-Muslims flourish in their surroundings. Even the historian Lacy Deliri said that the legend of Muslims conquering nations and forcing everyone to convert is an absurd myth. Reasons for tolerance stem from our Quran. In Surah 2, verse 256, we are told that there can be no compulsion in religion. Additionally, in Surah 49, verse 13, we are instructed that God has made nations different so that we may learn from one another, not so we may hate. Islam actually seeks unity between the Abrahamic religions, and this is because we all share the basic same belief. There is no God but God, and he has no partners. And since the Quran also tells us that the people of the book, which means the Jews and the Christians, will also be rewarded greatly, there's no sense in this punishing of the Jews and Christians that many claim to be doing. Islam requires belief in the original message of the Torah and the Gospel, which includes belief in the different prophets, including Adam, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad, peace be upon them all. Islam believes that all the books and prophets carry the same message of God, and therefore should be used together in their unaltered form so that we may understand the whole picture. Dr. Carrie Owen says that the Quran says the truth isn't restricted to just one nation, but all nations, all people contribute to the glory of God. Now that you understand how Islam views life and tolerance, I would like to speak with you about the ethics that must be followed when violence is unavoidable. Several war ethics Muslims must adhere to at all times are found in the Quran and with the actions of our Prophet. In Islam, Muslims may only fight in self-defense. The Quran tells us to only defend ourselves, for God does not love the aggressors. In the article, Terror is Not Islam, written by Dr. Carrie Owen, she beautifully states, the clear implication here is that war is permitted only for self-defense, not for territory or trade, revenge, or military justice. Islam makes clear certain individuals are never to be harmed. These were given to us by the Prophet Muhammad, and they include women, children, the elderly, the ill, and those in place of worship. During war, the Prophet came across the body of a woman in the street, and as he wept, he said, "She was not fighting. How then did she come to be killed?" The Quran also tells us that hostility is only ever to be shown to the oppressors. So suicide bombers are incorrect in their actions because not only are they taking innocent lives, but in Surah 2, verse 194, we are told that taking of your own life is never accepted. It is always forbidden. And when prisoners are taken, they are to always be treated properly. In his farewell sermon, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that when you have a prisoner in your possession, you are to feed and clothe him as you would feed and clothe yourself. He continued to say that abuse of prisoners would never, ever be tolerated. The Quran tells us that there also must always be just cause when a prisoner is taken. So, prisoners cannot be taken before war, and as soon as battle ceases, they must be released, if not before. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community actually informs us that a popular practice was releasing prisoners if they taught an uneducated person to read or write. If prisoners are not taken justly, the Quran tells us that those takers will not be rewarded, but severely punished in the hereafter. So this shows us that those who take and kill innocent hostages will be punished, not rewarded, as many try to claim. To end, any Muslim who practices the true message of Islam is a supporter of peace. Hopefully you will now understand that Islam values life and tolerance, but when they have to defend themselves, they must follow certain ethics. Between the message of the Quran and the actions of our Prophet, it's clearly understood that Islam promotes tolerance and life for all people. If attacked, they may defend themselves as long as they follow the ethics that are set out for them. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said in his final sermon, "Never go back to being unbelievers, smiting each other's necks. For verily, I have left among you that which if you take it and follow it, you will never stray after me." The Book of Allah. I hope to have shed some light on this subject for you, and I thank you for your time.